tonight on a special, as promised, even though I'm late, Sunday night chill stream because, you know, there was no work. I decided, all right, I'll just go get ready to go do a stream and go do blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, they call me and give me a couple of quick jobs. I should bang it out in a couple hours. And then, of course, that just doesn't happen because the world is full of people who I swear are put out there to frustrate me. Nonetheless, I said I was going to stream on Sunday. It's Sunday. There's West Coast people. There's people that have, they live in different time zones, and they're saying, where's the chill stream? So here it is. Monday comes, you have, you know, most people have obligations to work. Although all the jerks that were fucking driving around tonight, I don't know what the fuck they were doing. You know, it's 11:30 on a fucking Sunday night, and the highway's full of retards, and I don't know why. And I don't have a good explanation as to why. Although I think there are people with no inner voice, like they can't coach themselves. This is what I think about these very low skilled people, these people with piss poor awareness, is that they can't coach themselves. You know what I mean? That inner voice where you used to coach yourself, like you could build yourself up where you could crush yourself. That's it. It's kind of a separate issue, but you need to like coach yourself through shit. Like if you don't really know how you're gonna get through it, or you gotta knuckle down, you gotta pull your fucking resources and get something done. You coach yourself through that. Like for me, if I go to like fucking Portland, Maine, or some shit like South Portland, Maine, that's like 360 miles away. And then on the way back, it just feels like forever. And you know, I'm like, I just count off the miles, like 350 miles, 325, 300, 250. You know, and I'm down and down and down and down until I'm like, okay, last 100 miles, last 50 miles, 25 miles, and you're home. And you just have to coach yourself and you know, and keep your flagging spirits up in order to get the task accomplished. So, and I think a lot of people don't do that anymore for a bunch of different reasons. But whatever, my frustrations in my life as I fund my my one bedroom lifestyle. Anyway, it's Sunday. It is what, June 23rd, 2024, and you know, listen, we got to do a chill stream. So I'll see you guys in like 2 minutes. And we are back. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. Make sure to smash that like button when you get here, whether you're watching this live, whether you're lurking, whether you're going to catch this later on during the week. Make sure, if you're here, if you've been here this long, you might as well smash up the like. 5 minutes in, I could get a little like button smash. So yeah, today a bunch of the heat, like the current heat wave that's going, which is not terrible. It's only like a little over 100. But my car, I don't have air conditioning in my car. I could if I want to spend the money, but I just don't want to spend fiat. You know what I mean? I'll just fuck it. I'll just be sweaty and uncomfortable for 8 or 10 hours, 12 hours, and then I'll wash it off. You know what I mean? There's people with 10 times the problems I have. So driving some boxes around in triple digit heat, um, is not the end of the world. Ice Owl, Ice Owl. Hello, James. Hello, Ice Owl. I have not seen you before. People show up here, and I never know who they are. And immediately, it's a cool avatar. You got an owl, I guess. It's in a winter kind of thing. Never know who they are, how they get here. So, like a lot of the people that show up in the chat, I know. But the ones that I don't know always just arouse just weensy bit of suspicion. Like I'm getting fucking kicked around on fucking Instagram for shit. I'm not even doing an anti-Semitism. I know what you're thinking, James. You do anti-Semitisms like other people spit on the sidewalk. Yes, that's true. And I also do racisms, and I do homophobias, and I do some other isms and obias and whatever that people don't like. But I wasn't even doing that. There's times where I deliberately go, okay, I'm just not going to do anything pugnacious. I'm not going to do anything provocative. I'm just going to say this. And fucking Instagram goes, boom, your comment was removed because whatever, you're a naughty boy. And I'm like, I didn't fucking do anything that time. Like if I did something, I'm like, yeah, all right, you caught me. All right. He's a fair cop, but society's to blame. But I don't do anything. There's no reasonable suspicion that I've committed a crime against the narrative that I feel like this is unjust. But so they send these stupid bots to argue with me every now and then on the comments where I do get pugnacious and shit, and I just fucking kick their asses. And I realize, and I know they're bots because somebody replied on whatever comment I made, and then I don't even read the reply. I just go look right at the account, and I see it has 0 posts, even though it posted to me. It has 0 posts and like 900 followers. Okay, how'd you get 900 followers if you've never even posted? So I know it's a bot account or an AI account, and it's I'm arguing. I don't know if I'm arguing with ChatGPT 4 or whatever version of whatever they're using, but no lie, man, I kick the fucking shit out. It is not ready for me. And that, to me, I'm actually pretty tickled by that because I'm now winning arguments against non-human intelligence, and I'm vain enough to give myself a little pat on the back for that. Anyway, we're here to talk about a whole bunch of stuff, and there's always some stuff to talk about. Although I'm a little light with the material this week because all these fucking Bitcoin people are just pissing me off, man. I don't like the dick riding of billionaires. I just don't like that, and everybody's, I don't know what they're doing. They're in some kind of weird fucking holding pattern, waiting for the price to pump, which it will eventually pump. But, right now, we're just going sideways and doing stupid shit. And in the meantime, big things are being done. Like this, I mentioned this, been on this for a while. The nuclear future, right? This one says energy demands for Northern Virginia data centers almost too big to compute. They believe they have to increase the amount of electricity for the data centers in Northern Virginia, where I go all the time to Dulles Airport. They're going to have to double the energy production in 10 years, in the next 10 years. So from 2024 to 2034. And they don't know how they're going to fucking do it. I think I know how they're going to do it because I don't have the screenshots because I deleted them. But Russia and China are building floating nuclear power stations. They're going to put them on ships. Like an entire ship is just going to be a nuclear power plant. They're going to sail it up to somewhere, hook up, plug it in, you know what I mean, to whatever country needs juice, and they're going to squirt electricity into the wherever inland from a ship. There's companies in America that are going to do the same thing, except they're not putting them on fucking ships. They're not putting a giant reactor on the ship. They're putting tiny reactors like on 18-wheelers. Like, and I think that's what they're going to, this is my sci-fi, dystopian sci-fi fantasy of what Northern Virginia is going to be like, because those data centers need the juice. They're not going to move the data centers, and they don't have the ability anymore because everything in Loudoun County is overdeveloped. They can't just knock shit down and put up nuclear power plants. They're not going to be able to do that. They're going to be able to do that fast enough with all the fucking regulations and stuff. But if they can get these nuclear power plant, 18-wheeler nuclear power plant things going, right? Get them licensed. They'll just roll them out, plug them into the data center for, high demand, and then park them somewhere like in a lead fucking garage or some shit to placate the fucking to people who complain. But if you complain about it, you might want to really be careful. Don't complain about that shit, because you may end up shooting yourself in the back of the head twice. Just so you know. And everyone's favorite boogeyman. Now we got two people watching. Everybody's favorite boogeyman, and I've mentioned this. Bill Gates. He's breaking ground on a new nuclear power plant in Wyoming. Jeff Bezos owns one. The gay guy from AI owns one, Sam Altman. This is the way it's going, right? And that this is not just some sort of random shit. This is a much bigger deal. And you can hate Bill Gates all you want, but this guy has the inside track on a lot of shit, and he always has. So here's Bill Gates talking about being once again put on a pedestal. He went from being a doctor, now he's a physicist. Check it out.
The U.S. created, right, the nuclear space, really, with the Manhattan Project. Do you think we can get back as a country to really leading on the innovation on this front?
Well, there is competition. The country that's building the most nuclear reactors today is China. And they're serious about diversifying their energy sources and getting rid of their greenhouse emissions. The U.S. just tends to be more innovative, whether it's artificial intelligence or new medicines. If we unleash the innovation power of this country, we tend to lead. And I feel great about the support we're getting from the federal government in this nuclear space to take our history of excellence and solve the problem that our current reactors are just way too expensive. And so let's make the changes, be willing to out-innovate our foreign competitors to maintain that lead.
So you hear how, like, these guys, they're not as smart as we think they are. He says, whether it's AI or new medicines. So everybody knows he did the vaccine thing and made a fucking huge bag off the fucking vaccine thing. And now he's thinking, I'm going to make a big bag off the fucking AI. But we need new, innovative nuclear power plants because we got to compete with China. We're not competing with the chopstick jockeys. They depend on us for everything. If we go down, they go down with us. Billy kind of gives the game away, but they present him as, this is Bill Gates, serious rich guy who knows a lot of shit. We're going to do like another Manhattan Project. But he's saying that the federal government is behind this 100%. So as sure as the fucking sun is going to come up tomorrow fucking morning, U.S. Fed Gov is going to pour everything it fucking has into making this fucking happen. And you need to understand that this is going to be a big fucking expensive project that you should expect a very different world. And so this brings us to that's subject of tonight's the topic, the fucking headline of tonight's stream. Elon Gated, right? Elon Musk, and I was sort of, he's another one of my favorite whipping boys, but he had that lawsuit where he wanted to get $56 billion and it got dismissed. Well, he just moved the court, and he finally got his $56 billion pay package. from Tesla. And I'm like, holy shit, that's 56 billion with the B. That is the biggest bag that any CEO has ever fucking grabbed, like in history, right? And you go, well, the stock market's at all-time highs, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, well, the stock market is at all-time highs, and every stock is whatever, pumping, except Tesla, which is down 40%. So, you know, your stock is down 40%, and you say, I need more compensation than anyone's ever gotten, ever, ever, ever. And now, and I'm wondering why he's doing this. I'm like, where the fuck does this come from? And Bill Gates, you know, the understanding that the nuclear power that they're going to build is not going to be powering fucking little Tesla cars. You know what I mean? That shit's going to data centers. And I think Elon knows it. I know Elon knows it. And I think that Tesla's going under. I think this time it's going down. And he's like, he's grabbing the biggest bag he can, and he's going to get the fuck out of there. Somebody else will become CEO, or the ship goes down, and he'll blame shift it away from him. You know, that's that. And that's an interesting. It's super interesting to me that their plan of make everyone drive an electric car so we know where everyone is, we can see where they go in the GPS and spy on them and shit. That plan has been abandoned, and they've got another plan. And that other plan, I do believe, involves you gambling like a fucking degenerate. That's a big thing. Here's a kid. I think he's an American kid, but it's a minute 24 seconds. And this is I think the orientation of America for, like, in the coming whatever until dystopia ends. This is what they're looking to get everybody to do. Here's a minute 24 explaining nature of gambling.
Gambling literally changes the structure of your brain. This change in the structure of your brain is what eventually can lead to a gambling addiction. Okay, but what structures in your brain can even be changed? Well, it's all thanks to this little guy. This neurotransmitter called dopamine is what makes you feel pleasure. It makes you feel good. It's your brain's reward system. And as you go and gamble, your brain actually gets intense rushes of pleasure as you're anticipating what's going to happen between placing the bet and finding out the result of the bet. As someone gambles more and more, they can become adapted to only want to get their dopamine from gambling. This means that your brain craves gambling to feel pleasure. But here's where things get particularly scary. In the brain of someone with a gambling addiction, meaning someone who's already developed that dependency on the dopamine from gambling, the feeling of almost winning is the same as the feeling of winning. This means that it doesn't matter if a gambling addict wins or loses, they're still going to get that same high from going and placing the next bet. So when you ask yourself, why would someone keep gambling if they're losing all their money? Well, it's because it doesn't matter if they're winning or losing. It just matters that they get to place another bet. I struggled with a gambling addiction for 6 years, where every single day I would compulsively gamble for between 6 to 8 hours per day. Find out more about my story here and how you can avoid making the same mistakes that I did with your life.
So it's a pretty articulate kid. And I said last week I used to be in the taxi business, and all these guys were degenerate gamblers. And the understanding that the dopamine rush, right, the sense of pleasure is just knowing that is between placing the bet and finding out the result of the bet. That was so fucking, that to me, like, set off so many fucking light bulbs. I remember I went to work at this one taxi company, and it was this guy, Nicky A. I can't remember his last name started with A. Supposedly he was friends with Robert De Niro, and he said De Niro was black chicks from day one. But I would, like, the first day I was there, people took me aside and said, "Listen, whatever you do, don't place any bets for Nicky." I was like, "Huh? What?" I said, "I don't gamble." But, like, yeah, don't place any bets for Nicky. Nicky used to be a bookmaker, and he had fucked up so bad that he couldn't place a bet anywhere in New York City. Like, not with the mob. Obviously, he could play scratch off cards and the ping pong balls, but he could not place a bet any other way. And he was a degenerate, like a fucking degenerate gambler. And I remember one time he was trying to explain to me the logic they have, and you're going to see this more and more from as everyone gets into this fucking gambling addiction shit. Trust me, this is coming everywhere. You know, the Ethereum network, all the shit coins, all the meme coins. I get all this stuff in my feed. The rapper 50 Cent supposedly rug pulled his followers on a meme coin for like $1.5 million earlier this week. So they're going to grab a quick bag, $1 million, $1.5 million in 8 hours, and everyone else is going to be left holding fucking shit coins. You know what I mean? And that's all going to come from your smartphone. I'm going to show that in a minute. But Nikki, I remember Nikki was trying to tell me, because I was like, Nikki, why do you gamble so much? If you're a bookmaker, wouldn't you just fucking make money off it and just let everybody else lose? You see everybody else lose all the time. Like, why do you, like, I don't understand why you would do that. But that kid just explained it. You get the dopamine rush, whether you win or you lose. That's how you're addicted. You know what I mean? And you just, the money, it doesn't even matter if you win a lot or you lose a lot. You just need more money to get that rush again. So, and he was telling me, he said, listen, kid, he said, like, listen, it's just as hard to pick 8 losing horses as it is to pick 8 winning horses. And I said, well, yeah, I guess. I said, but in horse racing, only the first 3 horses, the first, second, and third place horse, they're the only ones that you get paid for. So it's not even Steven 1-to-1. It's 5-to-3, assuming there's 8 horses in the race. There's 5 losers and only 3 winners. So it's really 5-to-3 against. And he sat there and he was like, he goes, all right, wait a minute. I got to, so let me explain. He says, okay, listen, it's just as hard to pick 6 losing football teams as it is to pick 6 winning football teams. Back in the day, there used to be these, what is it called, parlay tickets or whatever they were called, betting slips, football betting slips, that they would win all around New York and New Jersey and Brooklyn, Staten Island, and parts of Jersey. This was real common. And you would pick however many teams. I saw these things in junior high school, you know, and you'd give it like $1, they'd give you a receipt, and if you won, you'd win, whatever. I did it a few times. I didn't win. I didn't care for it. But the thing is, guys, kids would play this, and they you know, oh, the Giants versus fucking the 49ers, Denver versus the Houston, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And they get 4 out of 6, and then they would gamble again next week, and they became degenerates. But you only got paid if you got 6 out of 6. If you only got 4 out of 6, you didn't get paid, you know. And so, I mean, that's how it's structured, right? It's designed for you to lose. But for the people caught up in it, they can't. There's no amount of logic that will shake them out of it, because, like that kid said, the structure of their brain is they only feel good when they're gambling. And that is super fucking dangerous. And the fact that this is the crypto world, and Donald Trump is Joe Crypto these days, the crypto fucking world to smartphones, and this is what you're going to get.
A lot of people are going to be struggling with gambling, and that's because it's going to be on our phones. And so there's no start time or end time. It's around the clock. You can just push a button to get money into the phone, transfer funds in. There's not a good way to shut the brain down. And so we know from other countries in Europe that once things like slot machine action are on phones, it pretty much triples the addiction. So all this sports gambling that's happening, it's not going to be like the over-under on your favorite football team that you're going to just pick for this weekend. It's about like parlays and making bigger bets and making in-game bets and lightning bets and things that are quick and fast. And then you get into that, and then a huge percentage of folks transfer over to the online casino, which is just kind of a self-reinforcing loop of I'm losing, so I'm playing, and I'm chasing, I'm trying to get my money back.
So, you know, that woman's talking about the older form of casino gambling, but I'm talking about shitcoining. And I showed that shitcoin ad, I'll show it again in a minute. But, you know, these shitcoin advertisements are saying you can take $800 and turn it into $650,000 in less than a day, right? And for a millennial who's like, oh, I'll never be able to afford a house. I got to drive this crummy car. I live with 7 roommates. I hate my life, blah, 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 blah. And he gets his $800 paycheck or whatever, however much his paycheck is. Sooner or later, dangling that, one bet, just one bet, and you could own your own house. You could live on a farm or whatever the fantasy is. You know what I mean? Like it could all happen for you just all tonight. It could happen. Just bet the 800 and you could be on your way to the lifestyle of your fucking dreams tomorrow. And that's going to hook people in. That's going to be enormously fucking powerful, especially when it's on your phone all the time. Like that woman said, putting gambling on phones triples the fucking addiction rate. And once your brain grows accustomed to only feeling pleasure from gambling, you are fucked. You are absolutely fucked. And I think that's what they're going to be doing. Listen, that makes you a debt slave forever, right? You'll do anything for money. You will do anything for money so you can gamble it again, right? And that guarantees you stay at the bottom of the economic strata forever. You stay a brokey forever. Even if you fucking win big, you'll just gamble it all away in the next 6 months or fucking year. You'll be right back to where you started. And that's going to be the most beautiful, simple, elegant way for the elites to stay on top, right? And what I've said earlier, that when you buy Bitcoin, right, when you trade your dollars for Bitcoin, what you're doing is you're trading the money, the slavery coupons, the permission slips, whatever you want to fucking call it, fiat, for a form of wealth that they cannot inflate away and they cannot steal from. And that is such an enormous fucking innovation that is so big, it's bigger than most people can grasp. Because if you die and you don't tell anybody what your 12-word seed phrase is, that Bitcoin effectively goes with you into the afterlife. You know what I mean? Because no one can ever get it. No one can ever touch it. And that the ability to take what you do on this earth to make money, to make a living, right? To put a roof over your head, to your identity as an employee, as a business owner, as whatever. The ability to put that out of their reach forever, that they can never fucking steal that from you. It's just too big. It's too radical of a fucking idea. It's too radical of an idea, and most people can't wrap their heads around. So they get it wrong. In the meantime, everybody, including these fucking prick fucking billionaires, do. Like, I swear to God, I don't know how many people are watching my fucking streams, because I showed this is the church I showed 3 weeks ago, right? This is the church that took 600 years to build. It's in Prague. It's in Czechoslovakia. The guy in the black T-shirt, that I should prop it a little better. That's Saint Michael of Bitcoin himself, standing in front of that church, because he went out to Bitcoin Prague and he gave some rah-rah speech, blah blah blah, Bitcoin this and that. And I'm like, fuck, I literally just showed that church fucking 3 weeks ago. And here's fucking Saylor standing in front of it, like, look what I built. Well, here's the thing, Mikey. What Michael Saylor doesn't get, right? What he doesn't fucking comprehend is the reason why that took 600 years to build is because they ran out of fucking money. You want something that looks like that? Okay. That's not cheap labor, right? That's really fucking skilled labor. You got to put all the stones in a way that they're not going to fucking fall over. They have to be done in the same artistic style of blah, 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 blah. And 600 years from start to finish. And mind you, this is with no bureaucrats involved. There's no fucking building code. There's no regulations. There's no environmental survey. There's no right? You don't have to put in electric or fucking sewer. You don't have to do any of that. Just put the stones in order, right? And then put the cross in the middle and go throw some holy water around, and that's that. It couldn't be simpler. But from the time it was started to the time it was finished was 600 years, right? So what is it? 100 years is like 5 generations, right? Times 5 generations times 6. It's 30 fucking generations to get this fucking building done. Why? Why? What do you mean? What? He said, what? You ran out of fucking money. No one's going to work. I don't, whatever you believe in Jesus, you don't believe in Jesus, you believe in your whatever religion. I don't particularly care, right? But if I'm going to work all day, I got to go home to my wife and kids, and they want food, and they want clothes, and they want a roof over their fucking head. So yeah, all the glory of God, only glory to God in the highest, blah 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 blah. But I gotta buy a fucking loaf of bread and some fruit and shit for my kids, and you gotta fucking pay for it. You know what I mean? And the fact that they ran out of money again and again and again, century after century after century after century. If you want to build for eternity, motherfucker, that's going to cost you. This shit don't come cheap, right? This glorious fucking things that will live beyond you, that will live forever and ever, almost forever. That shit does not come cheap. And a lot of people's ambition seriously outstrips their resources. Seriously outstrips their resources. And now you have strip malls and storefront churches and ghettos and fucking. My understanding is you have storefront mosques in Egypt. Same kind of thing, right? Everything's been cheapened. Everything's been turned to fucking garbage because they're not going to pay you, right? They want what they want. They still want the same praise and they want all the fucking the aesthetic pleasure of this particular artistic style that's going to last for 5 years, but they don't want to pay guys to fucking do it, and keep those skills alive. Remember, 600 years from start to finish, that's a lot of apprenticeship and learning how shit goes together and learning how to fucking put it, you don't just carve stone like that and place it, willy-nilly, because it wouldn't stand. It wouldn't last as long as it would, as it has, right? It's got to be done right, and that's expensive as fuck. So the reason why we live in a cheap ass fucking world of digital fucking trash everywhere, is this is the kind of the ultimate expression of fiat currency. Gold and silver did an okay job for a while, and they had a lot of flaws. And fiat solved some of the problems of gold and silver, but gold and silver can be stolen. All of the pharaohs were robbed. All of the fucking all these fucking tombs throughout fucking history have been fucking robbed. Where's the one I was at? Let me show you. Could actually find some stuff. No, not that one. Let's look around. Let's look at let's go back. My little Indiana Jones thing. My Indiana Jones thing back in the day. Stand by. Yeah, here. Let's see if this thing just pops up. Right. Show up on the screen? Yeah, so this is a couple of years ago when I went to Greece. This is what they call Agamemnon's tomb, and this is built into a mountainside, and this has like an Indiana Jones vibe to it. It's a big, gigantic, not quite pyramid shape. It's a rounded thing that they built. They found it was empty, right? Supposedly, this is not far from where Mycenae was, and blah 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 blah, Helen of Troy and Agamemnon, etc., etc. But that's what it looks like from the inside, right? You got all these rocks stacked up there, and that was obviously, it took a long time to fucking build. They covered it with fucking dirt to hide what was in there. And you know what? When in the 1800s, when they found that it was fucking empty, fucking looted, like looted. When you die, people will steal everything, right? They'll either steal it from you, or they'll steal it from your descendants. And Bitcoin is the only thing that they cannot steal from. And I don't think people fully understand the importance of that, right? They could get into Agamemnon's tomb. They could get into the pharaoh's fucking pyramids. They could steal the fucking gold from the Aztecs. It's very easy to steal from the dead. It's hard to protect your shit when you're literally, dead. But having your wealth stored in cyberspace, they can't reach into it. They can't just fucking grab it. They can't take it. And again, this idea is way too fucking radical for most people to fucking wrap their heads around. you know. And so you sit there, you're scratching your head, you don't understand. Like, gee, I don't know, should I, shouldn't I? What am I talking? What am I doing here? And you're not understanding how big of a deal it is. Although some people apparently figure out, I don't know. It seems like some of them have figured out how big it is. Here's an old friend of ours, not a friend of anybody, but somebody whose doctors I think deserve a fucking award. Check out the former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, talking about Bitcoin.
A very interesting and somewhat exotic effort to literally mine new coins in order to
Hillary
trade with
getting
them
nervous.
has the potential for undermining currencies, for undermining the role of the dollar as the reserve currency, for destabilizing nations, perhaps starting with small ones, but going much larger. So when we think about this new environment in which we find ourselves that we've been discussing for the last some minutes, we can't just think about nation states.
So there's Hillary saying Bitcoin could destabilize nations, maybe only just the little ones at first, but who knows? It might replace the dollar. It will eventually replace the dollar. I don't think it's going to happen in the next 5 years, but that's certainly going to happen. What's amazing about that is, one, Hillary looks remarkably cognizant of her. Like, her doctors got her to fucking lose a shit ton of weight. Her brain works, at least while she's sitting in a chair in an air-conditioned room. I don't know if she could walk across the room, and I don't know if she could walk across, like through a garden on a midsummer's fucking day without her brain overloading. But her fucking doctors fixed her up pretty good. And they briefed her, and she's doing her talking. So kudos to her doctors. I think she's a nightmarish, parasitical, evil human being, but her doctors are fucking some whiz bang motherfuckers for taking her from where she was to where she is now, at least where she was in the video. But there's some awareness, right, at her level that that Bitcoin is a threat to their method of control, right? How serious do they take it? I don't know, but they certainly, they briefed her, and she gave her fucking talking points, to whatever fucking audience that was. So there's, like I said, it's a very radical idea, saving the value of your labor or your services in a form that they can't steal and they can't inflate away from you. And right now, I think we're dumping 62,000 or some shit like that. People are like, oh, Bitcoin's going into the toilet. When it was, I'm not going to go into what you think about the price action. But that these people think that this is that big of a deal is important, and that they need to, their job, the job of Hillary, the job of Donald Trump, the job of whoever they put in there, and Congress is to protect elite status and to maintain elite status. And if you really want it to be a radical and not just some gay communist living in a cardboard box waiting to fucking starve to death, you would work towards ending their control. That's what you would work towards. Unity and unity calls. Oh, I'll just unify. The entire world is unified. They're like, hey, stop bombing the Palestinians, but the bombs are still dropping. You know what I mean? No, nothing's slowing down. We're sending troops there, Delta forces over there. Like, nothing's slowing down. You know what I mean? The world is completely unified. South Korea, all these people protest, thousands and tens of thousands of people all over the place. And you know what? Unity is bullshit. There's no power in fucking unity. That's a fucking illusion you were sold from 1960 civil rights marches, where they fucking paid dindoos to agitate shit, and they had the civil rights legislation written before the fucking before the Rosa Parks incident, all the shit was prepped in advance, was planned in advance, and and then they took an incident and then lit the fuse, like whatever, George Floyd, same kind of thing. How many dindus shoot it out with the fucking police or get killed by fucking police every fucking day in America? I don't know, dozens to 10, 20, 50. I don't know, who the fuck knows? Like day in, day out, over and over and over again, and nobody even fucking thinks about it because it's just the life in the fucking ghetto. But at some point they reach in and they go, this fucking thing, we're gonna shut the whole world down. We're gonna have 12 funerals and a golden casket. I'm gonna export this shit to fucking England. George Floyd protest in England. The fuck is that about, right? And they can do that whenever they want because they have that level of fucking power. Because everybody shows up to work for a fucking paycheck, and you'll do what you're fucking told, or you will die starving and homeless. Get it? And if you think to yourself, hey, I don't think I want to live that way. You have to start looking at what are my choices? How do I resist this? What do I do to think like I'm not just gonna fucking go along with this? I'm not just gonna go along with this. I gotta do something. I gotta do something to subvert this. And luckily today we have that thing. Although a lot of this, Hillary can. I don't know if she really thinks that Bitcoin's going to dethrone the dollar because it's nowhere near close to doing that yet. If they thought it was going to happen, they'd be way more panicky. But the nuclear power is going to be everywhere. Bill Gates and all these people are going to make $1 squillion off it, and you could make some money off it as well if you could figure out which stocks to buy. Not financial advice, but anything nuclear in the next 10 years probably going to outpace inflation because the entire government's going to be behind it. But they're going to convince you that it's all here and it's all ready to go. All this Boston Dynamics shit, all this robotic shit, total crap. I got a video of from San Francisco. There's a company out there. I don't know. Sure. It's called Waymo. It's one of those tech startups on the West Coast. And Waymo has a robot taxi, and I got 34 seconds of the robot taxi. Check it out.
I'm trying to get a cow out.
So, okay, robot taxi drives under construction site. And, at a base level, it's like, haha, look at the stupid computer can't figure out what a human can figure out in 2 seconds. I was in the taxi business. Trust me, I met 35 guys who were stupid enough to drive onto fucking wet concrete. That's not the point. There's plenty of human beings that are dumb enough to make that mistake twice in a fucking week, right? That's the point. That's not the point I want to make. The point I want to make is, one, you can't fix it. Like the construction guys could say to Ahmed or fucking whoever, like, hey, dummy, turn the fucking car around, right? And the problem would be solved more quickly. You can't tell that to the car with all the sensors on it. Like, what are you going to do, right? The guy's running around the car like, stop, wait, turn it, making hand gestures to a video camera to do what? All right. So I was in the taxi business for a very long time, from the early 90s to like 2014. And I learned a lot about people, and I learned a lot about the taxi business, which in New York, there were the yellow taxis you see, there were 11,000 of them, or 11,000 yellow taxis in New York City, and that number was fixed in the year 1933. Has not changed since. But, 11,000 taxis for a city of 8 million people is not enough. And those taxis, I'd spend all the time either on the island of Manhattan or at the airports. So fucking what? Well, what about the rest of the city? There's a lot of people. That's where the livery cars or whatever, like a low-tech version of Uber, the livery services, which is mostly what I work, came in. So these were like local fleets around neighborhoods all throughout all the 5 boroughs. And you would call them up on the phone, say, I'm at, number 12 Main Street, send me a taxi, I'm going to here, going to the supermarket, I'm going to the movie theater, I'm going wherever I'm going. Okay, so like I said, it's like a low-tech version of Uber way back in the day. So all in total, there's probably about 50,000 taxis in New York City. Okay, that's the largest taxi market in the country by far, in the city that never sleeps. And where's these fucking robo-taxis? This robo-taxi that they tell you is right around the corner, and Elon Musk, the $56 billion man, right, who's the smartest genius ever, tells you that robo-taxis are right around the corner, but not one of them in New York City, right? Wouldn't you, and as I remember, this is the way I remember it, the companies I worked at, they would buy used, first they would buy used police vehicles. They did that for the longest time, up until the mid-90s at least. NYPD would sell off their old police cars, and you'd have to repaint them, and then you could use them as taxi. That was super common. Dodge Diplomats and a couple other type of cars, Plymouth Furies. You could buy them the guys would buy them at auction, and you would have to buy like 25 cars at a time, but they'd be like $1,000 each, $1,000, right? And then they would paint them and put in radios and do this and that and the other, and then the car would go out. And at the places I worked at, cars would earn approximately $500 a day. Of that $500, the company kept $250. The driver would keep $250, right? So the car would earn about $250 a day, and so it cost $1,000 for the car, maybe another $1,500 to get it ready for the road. Blah 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 blah. Insurance. Within 30 days, that car was just fucking purely a cash machine. All that fucking money the car was making, right, just went right in the owner's pockets. Yeah, they had some expenses, but every car was probably making them, after the first 30 days or 60 days, every car was making them fucking $500 a day, every day. So if you had 25 cars, you're making like $5,000 a week, right? Or more than that. No, they're making 500 times 25. Yeah, you were making a lot of money. And none of these guys, this was all cash back then. Very few credit card transactions. It was all cash. Guys would be making $3 to $5 million on the day shift and another $1.5 million in the night shift, and report to the IRS that they'd lost $75,000. No shit. I knew stuff like that happened, and what could you prove? It was all fucking cash. Okay, so what? Well, the so what is this was nobody, guys. This was half-ass wise guys, associates, various different dudes that were like gamblers or whatever that just fucking would, they were a driver and a gambler, and they made a lot of money, and then they would just buy a fucking taxi company themselves and then run it, and then of course keep gambling. But in the biggest market, the biggest taxi market in America, there's not one robo-taxi, not one, right? If regular cars with human drivers can make you $500 a day, how much does the robot taxi cost? And how much does it make? Of all this, the robots are coming. Oh, it's all going to robot taxis and blah, blah, blah. It's all fucking bullshit. None of that shit's going to fucking happen. Because if it was really going to happen, it would be happening in New York, and guys who own taxi fleets would be firing motherfuckers left and right, and Uber would be fucking firing people left and right, and their profits would be soaring, because if you have to split the profits with the driver 50-50, that's where the human driver, with the fucking robot, you would double your fucking profits, right? Because the robot doesn't need anything, right? You just run the robo taxi and change the oil and fill the car with fucking gas, and that's that. And it's literally a fountain of fucking money. Except there's one shitty robot taxi in San Francisco that fucks up, as stupid as any Middle Eastern jerk that I ever fucking met. Any dude named fucking Mustafa, which is really the dummy name of the fucking Middle East. I never met a Mustafa that had 2 brain cells. Mustafa and that computer and that robo taxi are just as fucking dumb, except you can tell, hey, Mustafa, hey, dummy, make a fucking U-turn, get out of our fucking, get out of our little sandbox. So there's no profit in it, and people do shit for profit. People show up for money, right? They do. Everyone does what they does. Even the fucking feds that come to this channel wouldn't come to this channel if there wasn't a paycheck. If there's no paycheck in it, you ain't fucking doing it. You don't get out of bed because you love your fucking boss, or you want to fucking maintain the American empire, or you really like doing whatever it is you do for a living. You get out of bed every fucking morning because it's a paycheck. And if the robots, right, robo-taxis, could double your paycheck, they would be everywhere, except they're nowhere. So all of this shit, all the stuff you see in your fucking Boston Dynamics, robots with guns on their fucking heads, where's the robo dog with fucking, the robo dog with the gun on its head, like woof, 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 woof. What? The thing's not working. Whatever. None of that shit's gonna fucking happen. It's all bullshit. It's all propaganda. They think they can build super communism. Finally, the Russians failed at communism, even though they held them at gunpoint for 70 fucking years, killed 25 million people. The Chinese failed at communism, even though they fucking killed 60 million in the Great Leap Forward. But this time, if we just buy a million gazillion fucking chips from NVIDIA and have all these AI data centers, we'll have robo-taxis that'll do like this. There's going to be no robo-taxis. There's going to be no robo-janitors. There's going to be no robot chefs. All of that's bullshit. None of it's going to happen. Because if it was going to happen, it would have already. Because there'd be a lot of fucking money. And guys would be saying, like they'd be lining up. People would be lining up to throw their fucking money at these robot taxi companies. But they're not doing it. You know why? Because there's no fucking money. This is all a fucking, it's all a fucking facade. It really is. Oh, by the way, there's a We Faked the Moon Landing movie coming out with Scarlett Johansson. By the way, very easy on the eyes, Ms. Johansson. But yeah, they're just gonna like, listen, they're gonna be able to do whatever the fuck they want, say whatever they want, and no one's gonna give a shit because they spent their entire paycheck hoping to get to pay off their Honda Accord or whatever the fuck they drive, and not have to live with roommates. And that's gonna be most of America. There's no more fucking ladder to fucking climb. I mentioned last week, I saw a fucking billboard outside of Philly that says, get your MBA for $9,900. And then I thought, well, you know, that shows the real value of an education. Well, here's a guy, there's a professional comedian explaining the real value of education.
Because I realized early on that these student loans are basically small business loans, and the business is you, and you're maybe not such a great business. Look, if they call them small business loans, no 18-year-old kid would ever get the loan because it's a bad idea for a business. If you had to go to the bank, to the small business desk and ask me, like, yeah, I'm going to need $150,000, they'd be like, all right, what's your business idea? All right, here's the idea. For the next 4 years, I'm going to get blackout drunk. But also, I'm going to get a degree in sociology. They'd be like, get the fuck out of our bank. You're like, that's fine, I will, but just know that I did have a way to pay you guys back. It's going to give you $80 a month, for the next 240 years.
So, okay, so there's a comedian saying, if you looked at a student loan like a business loan, you would never get it. They would never give it to you. And so, comedians don't really do free speech. They do what's safe, but it's now safe to shit all over that education is the way higher in life. That illusion popped forever. That's why billboards outside of Philadelphia tell you how cheaply you can get your MBA, and stand-up comedians do the stand-up comedy thing. Where they shit all over the idea of going to college, which used to be the highest thing. Oh, you're going to be the first one to go to college. Oh, I went to this college. I went to that college. Yeah, now it's all bullshit, right? Part of what the future is going to look like, I think, is what the past looked like. And that wasn't always that pretty. I don't know that we're going to do exactly like this, but I think it's going to be pretty close. In the 1930s, life kind of sucked, and here's exactly how it sucked.
How did the middle class live when Falling Water was built? I think this is fascinating. My dad's dad was born 20 miles from Falling Water in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. He was born to a coal mining immigrant in a coal company house. Now, the H.C. Frick Coal Company that my great-grandpa worked for made two types of company houses. Both types were duplexes, but they either had a gable roof like this or a salt box roof like this. If you look close, this is one of those houses that have like shingles on the side of the house as well, which I think is hilarious. Now, this is an example of a kitchen in one of those coal company houses. And the food for that kitchen comes from the company store. And my great-grandpa wasn't paid in U.S. currency, so he had to use company dollars to buy company food from the company store for his family that lives in the company house. At best, you could call this indentured servitude, but I think it's actually worse than that. There's no way out of that. Now, my grandpa was born the year the Titanic sank. He got a grapefruit for Christmas during the Great Depression, and men would walk around town like this. And they would die like this. Here's your lung. Here's your lung after 10 years in the mine. Here's what 20 to 30 will get you. Now, my grandpa got out of this situation by fleeing to Cleveland, and he would roll over in his grave if he saw I was working with my hands for a living. His sons became engineers. I became an engineer. But it's my fascination with a beautiful old home like Falling Water that brings me back to his neck of the woods. And maybe it's 100 years too late, but Henry Clay Frick, I hope you're still burning in hell.
So Henry Clay Frick of the Frick Museum fame in New York City, which I think I wanted to go there some years ago, and I think the fucking ticket price like 10 years ago was fucking $30 to get into that place. The Frick Museum, big deal museum. The guy had a lot of really nice stuff, of course, but the number of people that died and how they died to make him rich, shows how ugly this is. Jeff Bezos, you can drive for him, you can drive for Amazon, but I don't even know if you can get a fucking mortgage from him. But it's worse today. It's literally worse today than it was in the 20s and 30s, working for, or I should say the turn of the century, working for the fucking coal barons. And none of this shit improves until we make it fucking improve. And I know a lot of people here, there's tons of people, all the democracy haters, they sit there and they're sitting there every week going, oh, I practiced gay communism as hard as I possibly could in order to destroy democracy, to bring back the wonders of monarchy. And I've got a wee bit of a cautionary tale about the joys, the absolute joys of the hyper efficiency, the super efficiency that is achieved via the monarchical system. And here's a woman who, admittedly, she's doing a bit of the thirst trap. I think we call it a thirst trap. She's kind of dressed thirst trappy, I think. I don't know if that's a sentence. But what she has to say is a deeper insight into why you are a mentally ill retard for worshiping monarch.
Hi guys, so I'm in the beautiful valley of Glencoe, and as you can see, it's so overwhelming. The valley here is also known as the Valley of Weeping, and that is because of the Glencoe massacre that happened here in 1692. With the new change of king from King James, who was Catholic, who had a lot of supporters here in Scotland, known as Jacobites. There was a Protestant king who came onto the throne, King William, and he wanted them to sign an oath of allegiance. One of the clans actually did this, however they were a little bit late. It was the MacDonald clan, and they were headed up by Maclean. He came 3 days late because he went to the wrong place. The Secretary of State for Scotland at the time was John Dalrymple, and he actually wanted to make an example of them and sent 170 men up to Scotland under the context of wanting to collect taxes. 5 a.m. in the morning, Maclean, as well as 37 other women, men and children, were all slaughtered. Hope this was an interesting story, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.
So there's your monarchy story. Change from one monarch to another. Oh, Catholic to Protestant. That's bullshit. It doesn't mean fucking anything, right? It's a dominance display. This clan went to the wrong town, didn't sign the loyalty oath, right? You know, not that they just went to the wrong place. It's not like they said, "Hey, fuck you, Kiki," right? They just went to the wrong place, and you know, King said, "Oh no, I'm just going to send some tax collectors," and they fucking Ruby Ridge them. They did fucking Ruby Ridge in the 1600s, right? Killed everybody for just going to the wrong place, wrong fucking time. Men, women, and children, right? There's your monarchy. There's your you know, that's what you could expect when you finally, oh, please God, when we finally get rid of this democracy, when we finally burn that fucking constitution, that's what we can look forward to, right? That's what you can look forward to. So pretty good looking woman, I guess, whatever, she had a little boots on so she didn't get her leggings wet, but an important history lesson. Right? You don't want to be the subject of another. You really, when there's an absolute monarch with someone absolute fucking power, it's not going to end well. So you keep that in mind as a cautionary tale while you work to defeat the Constitution, while you seek to light the Constitution on fire, because once we get rid of this democracy thing, everything is going to be so great. Well, this one, I actually have notes. Looking at my notes, I was in an FBO. We're going to go up to Boston, but there was a magazine there. They still make magazines, and they still put them in these FBOs, these jet lounges. I can't remember what the name of it was, but I was thumbing through it while I was waiting for people to figure out what I was supposed to pick up because it wasn't where it's supposed to be. And this struck me as being super interesting. Taiwan Semiconductor, the little factory, well, I don't know how big the factory is, that makes all the computer chips that the entire world needs in Taiwan. They were supposed to open a factory in America, in Arizona specifically, in April of this year, but it's been pushed back. So I guess they went to Arizona because California's too fucked up. But we cannot depend on that one factory in Taiwan to create America's bright 21st century future. That's why we have like 6 out of our 7 carrier groups off the coast of China to keep them from gobbling up fucking Taiwan, because Taiwan is that important to us. Well, or rather, Taiwan Semiconductor is that important to us. So Taiwan Semiconductor, supposedly we could open a fucking factory in America, but it's been pushed back for some reason. I don't know what it is, but So I don't know how fucking high priority it really is if they didn't just fucking say, no, break ground, fucking give them all the air conditioning they need. We need these computer chips made in the US. But it's been pushed back. So the phony Cold War with China will escalate for I don't know how fucking long. But yeah, Taiwan Semiconductor was supposed to open a factory here. And it just reminded me, it made me think of when I'm flipping through the magazine in this mailroom, and it just made me think of the Japanese car invasion of the 70s, you know, when Toyotas and fucking Nissans or Datsuns like that, flooded American, flooded America, and the Japanese car manufacturers started fucking eating American car manufacturers' lunch, taking away market share, et cetera, et cetera. And they eventually said, hey, listen, you got to build factories in America, and Toyota and Honda and these other ones eventually built factories in America to build Japanese cars in America. So this was a big thing like in the Reagan Bush. And I thought, oh, well, this is like a similar sort of thing, except it's computer chips. We can't have these Chinese making all the computer chips in Taiwan and shipping them over here and taking all of our American wealth and leaving us vulnerable to Peking's perfidious plans or whatever the fuck the crackheads in Washington are fucking thinking. So like, listen, Taiwan Semiconductor, you have to open a factory in America. And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. Well, so they were pretty like all ready to go, but then somehow it got pushed back. Somehow ground was not broken, and it's not the super high priority build chips in America thing. Not that much of a priority. Because my guess is that a different group of people in Washington realized this second Cold War is way too profitable. Eventually, I guess TSMC will make chips in America, but I'm guessing that's a few years off. So when they fucking gaslight you with the fucking second Cold War, blah, 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 Taiwan war, like it, you can safely fucking ignore it. It's as real as the robo-taxis taking over fucking America. It's bullshit. Anyway, with that, where are we at? 1 hour and 7 minutes. Are you still here? Look at this, people still here. To everyone who's stuck around the entire show, thank you. To the people who will watch the show in the coming week, thank you. Make sure to smash up that like button. I'll put up the banner. I'll put up the banner. You smash up the like button. And to our regulars, here's one of our regulars, Judas Flychai, the based Persian, you're a rabbi now? I thought you were just, how did you become a rabbi? Do you guys just give yourself promotions like that? I have to ask. And then this guy, I don't know who this is. This person, who's got a cool avatar of an owl in wintertime. Saying hello to me, so I don't know who he is. If somebody knows who he is, let me know in the chat. Okay, smash up the like button. Judas Flychai, East Owl, who I'm a bit suspicious of, a wee bit suspicious of, as I should be. Thanks to everyone for stopping by. And what would I say? I would say, here's what I would tell you to do right now. Here, I know this is pornographic. This is horrible and pornographic. This is not gay communism, but it used to be Bitcoinism. You see that the price of Bitcoin is down. So you have girl number 1 is Bitcoin, girl number 2 is the dip, and girl number 3, well, that should be you. Yes, it's naughty. Yes, it's a bit earthy, probably earthier than it should be, but it's Monday morning. So we're not doing this on Sunday. We're not doing this on a holy day. So that's that. You can get away with that. Store your wealth in a form that they can't steal. That will be the most fucking radical thing you could ever do in your fucking life. Take it with you. And If you don't see the importance of that, then I cannot help you, ladies and gentlemen. I try, I do whatever, everything I can do from my 1-bedroom apartment in New Jersey, but my reach is limited. Anyway, with that, everybody, Judas Lightshine, East Owl, the people who are lurking and the people who will show up in the rest of the week, thanks for stopping by, and I'll talk to you guys again.